Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ksenia Pro. I'm a luxury maternity photographer and an online photography educator, and also the founder of the Luxury Maternity Photography Academy. Maternity photography has been my specialty for the past 5 years, so I'm here to teach you all the ins and outs of how to take beautiful maternity pictures for your clients. And in this video, we're going to talk about slimming camera angles for maternity photography specifically. So why do you want to slim people down on camera? Well, first of all, when maternity clients come in and they contact me, a lot of them are concerned about putting on some extra weight and looking good for their pictures. But it's natural for a female body to put on some weight, especially around the hips. I mean, we're not even talking about the pregnant belly, okay? But especially around the hips and the legs to support the added weight of the belly and the baby inside. So it's normal to gain some extra inches and some extra pounds. But as a woman myself, I can relate to those clients who are super concerned about the way they're gonna look, because they don't want to look like a giant whale. They still want to look like a beautiful model or a celebrity being photographed for like a cover of a magazine. So that's why our job as a photographer to make sure we're getting the flattering angles for any body type, especially when you're working with a pregnant woman, because you're super concerned about the way she looks. And one of the tools in your toolbox is actually selecting the right lens and the right camera angle to make the woman in front of you look slender, slimmer, create beautiful body shape, so she's happy about the way she looks in the pictures. So long story short, let's just get right to it. To get flattering, slimming camera angles, you need to pick the right lens. And first of all, you need to know the basics of how the optics of the lens work and which lenses will be more slimming than others. So wide lenses, if they use in the right way, they could be slimming for any body type because they elongate whatever is in the frame. It makes it a little bit smaller, and like if we were talking about portrait photography, the people in the photograph will look slimmer usually. But there's the right and the wrong way, and there's extreme way of using wide camera lenses. Good example is actually your phone camera lenses, because it's usually extra wide to fit like a lot of the room or a lot of the scenery around, and also it's super slimming. That's why when you actually take pictures with your phone, you kind of look slimmer when somebody takes a picture of you with a camera with a different lens, for example. So that's natural. That's why some people would actually, because they get used to seeing themselves on their phone pictures, they would come for a photo shoot and they're like, oh my God, I look huge. The camera puts on the pounds. No, it's just the phone camera takes off the pounds. And if it's the only pictures that you take for the past few years, that's you think how you look like. It's just easier to get a distortion, especially with filters and Instagram. It's easy to get a distorted version of yourself, thinking that that's the way that you look. So that's why it's very important for us as photographers. I'm not saying it's wrong or anything, but it's just making our job a little bit harder, and we need to be a little bit more sensitive and listen to our client when they're talking to us, especially if you want to get the pictures right and you don't want them make the people look like they're somebody else. I don't use super wide lens for maternity photography, but if I see there's someone who's like a little bit heavier than they normally are, I would use a 35 millimeter instead of a 50, for example. And I do often use 24-70 as my main camera lens for maternity photography in the studio. So I would just set it at a range that's like between 35 to 40 millimeters, because this is the range that it's not distorting the picture as much. It's just slimming enough, but it's still realistic. So you can get beautiful pictures. They don't look distorted, but with the right technique, you can actually make somebody look like a little bit longer and a little bit slimmer in the photo. Now, just choosing the right lens is not the win, okay? Because you need to pick the right angle and the right orientation. So to make somebody look a little bit longer, taller, and slimmer, I would recommend shooting vertical versus landscape, because the vertical frame, especially when combined with like a wider lens, it naturally slims people down because it stretches out the frame. So when somebody is in the middle of the frame, it will stretch them out, make their legs look a little bit longer, and just like their body look a little bit longer as well. And that's exactly what we want, especially for maternity photography, because women who come in with like pregnant bellies, they already put on some weight on, so they want to look a little bit slender. Now, when you do the opposite with a wide lens, especially if you shoot a landscape, it actually makes people in the frame look shorter and just kind of like a little bit heavier instead of stretching them out. Now, there's ways to combat that during the editing, but that's another story for another day. And tip number 3, it's true for any photography, portrait photography, but especially for maternity photography. If you want someone to look even smaller and kind of like slender in the pictures, we chose 35mm lens, we turn it vertical, and now I want you to angle it down just teeny tiny bit. Don't hang over your client. It's not gonna look nice because it's gonna be super distorted. But if you go from, for example, if it's like a close-up shot especially, if you go tilt your camera down just a little bit on them, that's gonna make their face closer to the lens and their body farther away from the lens. So the face is gonna look a little bit bigger compared to the body, meaning that the body is gonna look a little bit smaller. However, be careful with this technique because I see a lot of photographers, especially beginner photographers, they shoot down on people all the time, and that makes people shorter as well. So by slimming down, there's also the downside because by tilting the lens down, you're gonna shorten the legs of the women that you photograph. So again, there's a fine line, the fine balance between making them look slimmer and smaller on camera by using this trick without not making him look too short. And again, if you really use that angle with like a 35mm shooting down a little bit, and the legs look just teeny tiny bit shorter than they normally do, I would stretch them out in Photoshop sometimes just to balance that out. If you find this video helpful and you want to learn more about maternity photography and how to make maternity clients look their best in the pictures, how to create better body shapes, how to make the baby bump look bigger or smaller, and generally create better curves for your clients, make sure to check out my Luxury Maternity Photography Academy because this is where I share my best content and my best tips that I learned throughout my career of being a luxury maternity photographer for the past 6 years. You can find all the useful links in the description to this video. Now, if you guys enjoyed this video and you think it was helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell button because I want you to learn more from me. By liking this video and share it with a friend, you're making sure that other photographers are finding useful information for them. So thank you for that. All right, that was it for today, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.